Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today baseball still sucks. What are we talking about? Well, we're going to talk about Paul Skenes. And if you don't know who Paul Skenes is, he is a baseball pitcher. He went to LSU, helped LSU win the College World Series, got drafted number 1 overall to the Pittsburgh Pirates, was in the minor leagues for a little bit, and then in May got called up to the major leagues. And since he got to the major leagues, he has been absolutely dominating. He is 6-0 as a starter, and he actually today got named the starting pitcher for the National League in the All-Star game. He's an absolute phenom, and a few days ago, he was in the midst of a no-hitter. He had a no-hitter through 7 innings against the Milwaukee Brewers. He had only walked one player the entire game. He was absolutely dealing. And then going into the 8th inning, manager Derek Shelton decided to pull Paul Skenes. And a lot of people were kind of upset about this, noticed that his pitch count was at 99. And a lot of people kind of rose the question like, hey, was this really some sort of pitch count issue? Is that why you were taking him out because he got to a certain pitch count? Well, Derek Shelton at least said to the media that that wasn't the case. This is the quote from Derek Shelton. He was tired. It really didn't have anything to do with pitch count. Everybody makes it about pitch counts. It was about where he was at. It was about trusting your eyes, trusting him. Guys, I'm going to explain why that quote is an absolute load of garbage. That is an absolute lie. Because here's a few reasons. Well, one, earlier this year, Paul Skenes had a no-hitter through 6 innings. And through 6 innings, he threw 100 pitches, and then they decided to take him out. So we have a case of him throwing a no-hitter through 6 innings with 100 pitches and a no-hitter through 7 innings with 100 or with 99 pitches, what does that tell you? It means when he's hitting that 100 pitch mark, that is when the Pirates are deciding to pull him. No matter if he's throwing a perfect game, no hitter, no whether it's 5 innings, 6 innings, 7 innings, it's when he's getting to that pitch number, that is when they are taking him out. He said he was tired in that quote. In the 7th inning, guys, Skenes only threw 6 pitches. He got 3 outs with 6 pitches. So don't tell me he was tired. Come on. It was because he hit a pitch count. And I want to talk about this here for a second because this isn't a thing that's been going on in the MLB for the past decade or so. It might even be more than the past decade. Have you guys noticed that we were seeing a lot more like combined no hitters, and we're seeing pitchers, no matter how well they are doing in some certain games, getting pulled, no matter how well they are pitching? In MLB history, we've had 20 combined no hitters. 10 of them have been in the past decade. So what's that telling us? MLB teams are starting to do this where, or I guess they've been doing it for a while now. It's been a decade where no matter how good a pitcher is pitching, no matter how well they are doing, whether it is like a certain pitch count or something, depending on pitcher, teams are deciding to yank that pitcher out and go to the bullpen. And this is a thing that I don't know if there is any baseball fan alive that likes that. Is there any baseball fan alive that likes that? Because isn't part of baseball and part of sports in general, you know, being able to play a little bit extra, being able to pitch a little bit extra, being able to get accolades, get accomplishments, overcome the odds, pitch when you're a little bit tired to try and throw a perfect game no hitter. I think we all understand. We don't want to go back to the days where guys are throwing 130 pitches and, giving up 5 runs. We don't want to go back to those days. But if you have a chance to do something historic like a no hitter or a perfect game, we can't throw 20 extra pitches. We can't throw 30 extra pitches. We're not saying do it every night. Once a year, once every 3 years. We can't do that stuff. And these are the things that baseball is doing, they've been doing, that make people just kind of like, want to just grab a cheese grater and just do this to their face. Because this isn't fun. This isn't fun, guys. Guys, there's 2 reasons why when you do the pitch count thing where you're pulling out pitchers, there's 2 reasons why you would do that. The one reason is because there's some sort of statistic out there that like once you get over that 100 pitch mark, or it might be different depending on the pitcher, it might be 80 pitches for some pitchers, it might be 110 for others. Once you get over that certain pitch count, then all of a sudden that's when the batting average and your ERA, batting average for the other team and the ERA for the pitcher or whatever stat you want to do, starts to like go up, and the likelihood of them giving up hits, home runs, goes way up. It's something like that where it's like a calculator issue. But if you listen to the people, the teams, the people in the MLB, that when this stuff happens and they're getting pulled for perfect games or no hitters or, shutouts or whatever, the reason that they're using is like, hey, we don't want our pitchers to get hurt. We want to save their arms. It's not about one game, it's about the long term health of this player. Um, Now, guys, what I'm going to say, I'm going to preface with this. I am not any more in my life a MLB diehard. I'm more of an MLB casual fan. I started a MLB fantasy team this year. I joined a league because I wanted to learn more about the sport and more about the players in the sport. I will say this, from being on a fantasy team for like 3-4 months now, whatever it is, um, pitchers get hurt all the time. Pitchers are hurt all the time because I think the logic of what they say makes sense, right? When they're like, "Hey, we're taking these guys out, we're having them on pitch counts, we're doing that because we want to keep these guys healthy." Well, from my eyes, it doesn't seem like it's working. It doesn't seem like you're keeping these guys healthy. It seems like these guys are still getting banged up all the time. It seems like you're actually not preventing injuries whatsoever. And this kind of reminds me about like the NBA with load management, where they're like, "Oh, we want to load manage these guys, we want to make sure they get their rest because we want them to, be ready for the playoffs and we want to be healthy for the playoffs." Well, every year I watch the NBA, and I'm way more of a diehard NBA fan than I am a baseball fan. Every year with the playoffs, it seems like somebody's hurt. It seems like multiple guys are hurt. It seems like multiple guys are banged up. And I think, again, as fans, all of us would acknowledge, hey, we are fine with having pitch counts. We are fine with having load management if it actually works. But it's not working. It's not working. Pitchers are still hurt. Basketball players are still getting hurt all the time. Like, do we not care about history? Do we not care about doing things that are cool in baseball? Do we not care about throwing a potential perfect game? Throwing 20 extra pitches for the perfect game? Throwing 20 extra pitches for the no-hitter? Like, do we not care about that stuff? Guys, this happened a few years ago in April at the beginning of the season. It might have been Kershaw's second or third start. I can't remember exactly. He was 6 innings, had a perfect game. Perfect game, a lot more rare than a no-hitter. And they pulled Kershaw after 6 innings. And Kershaw, decided to take the road after the game of being like the awesome teammate and being like, hey, this isn't about me. It's not about me this season isn't about me throwing a perfect game in April. It's about me being ready for the postseason and this team, my health being long-term health being more important to this team and going on a World Series run. Well, they lost 3-1 in the first round of the playoffs to the San Diego Padres. So are you telling me that he couldn't have tried to get a perfect game in April? So what did he ruin? You're telling me that he can't go one game where he goes a little bit high on the pitch count a year? You telling me he can't do that? Guys, I don't believe these stuff when they're saying, hey, we're pulling these guys out for their health. I don't believe that one bit because it's not working. And two, I think it's a calculator issue, and I don't think these guys want to point at the calculator and say analytics. Guys, this also happened in the World Series, Game 6, Blake Snell. I remember watching this one. It was the COVID World Series with the Dodgers and the Rays, and Blake Snell was absolutely awesome through 5 2/3 innings, and then they pulled him, and then the Rays ended up losing that game and ended up losing the World Series. And you can't tell me that, like, watching that game, watching how well Blake Snell was dealing, that if you kept him in the game for a little bit longer, the Rays would have had a better chance to win. So the guys, like this quote with Derek Shelton, I used my eyes. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. That or you weren't watching the game. You might have been using your eyes watching the pitch count, watching the calculator. Guys, every once in a while, can we do this? Can we go back to this with baseball where every once in a while, not all the time, not every game. Again, we don't want these guys, throwing out their arms, throwing 130 pitches for a win in June or July. Just maybe every once in a while, we just pull out the calculator and just drop it in the garbage for a day. Just drop it in the garbage for a day. Because these are the things, if Paul Skenes would have thrown a no-hitter, that would have been awesome. These are more things that would make Paul Skenes appointment television more than he already is if he's throwing no-hitters on his, in less than 11 starts or whatever he is now. Yeah, man, this is where the times where, when you talk about the people running the sport, in the NBA, David Stern, who was a flawed commissioner, but he did have a pretty good run there. And he did kind of, the job of the commissioner is to serve the owners. The owners pay you. But David Stern, a lot of times when he ran the NBA, it kind of seemed like he would, uh, be the boss of the owners, be the boss of the league, which he kind of was. If something like this happened, if he was running baseball, if you had an AI version of David Stern running baseball, if this happened, he would pull all of the Pirates people into his office and he'd just roll up a newspaper, just whack him on the head and just like, let Paul Skenes try to get a no hitter. It's again, what's the deal of him going out there for another inning? Just trying it. What's the harm in trying it? No one has been able to answer that question. What's the harm in trying it? He goes out there, he gives up a hit right away. Okay, cool. Then you pull him. Like, what's the harm in that, guys? And two, the Pirates won that game. I can't remember if I mentioned that earlier. They won the game in as soon as the guy in the bullpen came in, he gave up a hit right away. The Pirates did get a shutout. Also, too, the Pirates are like fourth in the MLB in like blown saves. So even an analytical reason to keep Paul Skenes is like maybe him actually trying to complete the game to get the win is better than trusting the Pirates bullpen. But God, can we just agree every once in a while? Can we start a petition? Just like one every 5 games with baseball, we just throw out the calculator, because this is just the problem with baseball. You're taking out the human element. You're taking out human decision making, and we just we use the calculator to decide and the algorithm to decide who hits, who pitches when we take out pitchers. It's just these are the reasons that people just are kind of getting baseball is becoming dull. And I'm saying this as somebody that like loved baseball growing up. Absolutely love baseball. Love playing all the video games. Love collecting cards. But that's the state of baseball right now, man. No wonder no one cares about you guys, because you guys do crap like this. All right, that's going to do it for this episode here today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this content, please hit that subscribe button. That's the best way to get this channel to grow. If you like content like this, I don't usually talk about baseball stuff because the numbers ruin it. The calculator ruins it. We like talking a lot of football, a lot of basketball, some sports media stuff. So if you like any of that stuff, feel free to explore our page. And thank you for watching. I'll talk to you next time.